you need to copy what the returner does in this point. If you do, you're going to win a lot of matches. Now, first, this footage is actually courtesy of Brett, the server. He owns the channel Tennis Tunes, so thank you so much, Brett, for allowing me to use this video. Just make sure you subscribe to his awesome channel. The link is in the description below. All right, so we've got a second serve, and we can tell that because Gary is way inside the baseline, and he moves around a ball at his body, making it a forehand. When you are receiving a weaker second serve, you can see where this ball's landing, right? It's pretty short in the box. You've got to attack. And the way you attack a short second serve is not by crushing the ball and trying to hit a winner. You attack with your feet. After you hit the ball, you advance going forward. So watch. He hits the ball down the line, which is nice because if he hits this ball cross court, then he's moving Brett to the side that he's not on, and then it's easier for Brett to pass him. So what's nice about a down the line approach shot is it brings the opponent to you on where you're going to be, making it easier to then bisect where your opponent can hit. So he hits the ball down the line. Brett barely puts his racket on the ball and slices the ball up in the air. You can see where Gary is when he comes to the net. This is perfect. You don't want to go directly where you want to be when you're at the net. You actually want to make sure that when you're around the service line that you're near the middle, because that's where you're going to be bisecting where your opponent can hit. So that's absolutely awesome court positioning from Gary. The ball pops up in the air, and then here Gary has a decision to make. He can either hit the ball down the line and hope that Brett is running into the open court, or he can hit the ball into the open court and hope that he can hit the ball either hard enough or sharply enough off the court that Brett cannot get it. Well, Gary hits the ball down the line, but here's the crazy thing. Brett actually predicted that shot. Here's one thing that I've noticed about Brett is he is a really smart player. And when you're a smart player and you're a crafty player, you can kind of put yourself in your opponent's shoes. And oftentimes, Brett is able to outsmart his opponents because he can think about what he would do. It's like empathy, right? He puts himself in his opponent's shoes, thinks about the shots that are at his disposal if he were hitting the same shots in the same position as the opponent. It's a really, really cool thing to see Brett play. Now watch. Brett guesses correctly that the ball was going to go down the line. But right here, Brett, the server, I think, gets himself in some trouble. And did you notice it when you watched the video of the point? Watch what happens. Watch how Brett moves around this ball. The moment Brett moves around this ball and hits it as a forehand, he basically has to hit a winner on this ball because now he is not going to have any time to cover this half of the court. So there's a lot of pressure now for Brett to end this point, which is not easy, by the way. So watch what happens. Because Brett pulls himself off the court and moves himself over to the singles line, now Gary is able to hit the volley into the open court, and Brett is not able to run down that ball. Now, I do have to talk about the footwork that Gary uses, specifically the split step first. The split step, whether at the net, returning serve, during a rally, your opponent's at the net, double singles, it doesn't matter. The timing of the split step should always be somewhere, and I'll draw it here on the screen, somewhere between 0.2 and 0.25 seconds after the opponent makes contact with the ball. Okay? So Gary should land his split step that amount of time after Brett makes contact. So let's check it out. Here is the contact right there. That's the contact. So let's put a timer down and let's check to see when Gary hits the ground. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Let's see when Gary hits the ground off of look at that. Perfect. 0.21. Nice job, Gary. I'm going to give you a check, like a thumbs up. Good job, buddy. So he split steps perfectly. The reason for that is you want your reaction time to coincide with when your feet are hitting the ground. That way it's seamless and you can break inertia very easily and you land and you explode, right? If you land your feet as the opponent makes contact, you have to sit there for 0.2 seconds. And then it's too hard to break inertia, right? Because you're now become flat-footed and now you're going to be late and slow with your first step. The other thing I want to talk to you about is Gary's technique. Now, this reminds me of McEnroe's volley technique. Gary, amazing job. Gary set the racket exactly where the ball was going to arrive. So let's put a little dot here. Actually, I'm going to make it a different color so it's easier for us to see. So there is the contact point. Now, Gary's in the ready position. What he does not want to do is go up to then chop the volley down, putting a lot of backspin on the ball, making the ball float and check up, because then it would be quite easy for Brett to run that ball down. What we should see Gary's racket do is go immediately and directly to that red dot, because that's the contact. That's going to allow him to hit the flattest volley he can, which isn't going to chop the ball and make it float, but rather it's going to easily be consistent and hit the ball with speed into the court. Let's see if his racket follows that green arrow. Ha, perfect. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Watch how Gary does not chop with his racket, but his racket actually stays above the white of the top of the net. His racket never chops down. And because of that, he's able to hit the ball with good amount of control. The ball's not going to float and have backspin like a golfer chipping the ball onto the green, again, which would allow Brett to get that ball. And of course, you got to do the fist pump. Look at this. Look at Gary's fist pump. Yes, that's awesome. So really, really simple. When you get a weaker serve, you got to attack. And if you attack down the line, it's a shorter distance for you. It also brings the opponent to the side of the court you're on, making it easier then to bisect where they're going to hit the ball. When the ball pops up in the air, you can either hope that they run into the open court and hit behind them, or if you feel like you can hit into the open court, absolutely do so. Just make sure you hit the ball off the court so it leaves the court using the sideline to make it hard for the opponent to get the ball. If you're in Brett's situation and you think, you know what? I think it's going to be really tough to run down the cross-court ball. I'm just going to hold my ground and just hope that the ball comes to me. Brett was pretty lucky that he guessed the right way. But don't run around your backhand, hit a forehand in this situation, Brett. Just hit a backhand. And that way you don't have to put all the pressure on this shot to end the point. Because once you ran around this ball, that's when Gary took advantage of it and was able to end the point. Nice job, Gary. If you want to learn the exact same strategies that the pros are using to help them win more matches, then check out the Singles Playbook by Fuzzy Yellow Balls. Over 50 pages of strategy after strategy, all based on the style of opponent you play against. Simply put your phone or tablet up over the QR code, and up pops a short video from Will Hamilton over at Fuzzy Yellow Balls showing you how to use each strategy. To get it, simply use my link. It's in the description. I'm also going to pin it in the first comment. So click right there to check out the Fuzzy Yellow Balls Singles Playbook. Go out and film yourself playing matches. Review the footage. If you do, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2MinuteTennis.net. You got this.